Welcome. My name is Joe Bergonia. I'm a marriage and family therapist, but prior to all that, I'm also someone that went through a divorce after 10 years of marriage. Divorce can feel like a death, but no one died. That's what makes it difficult and confusing. I remember returning to our home after my wife had moved out. It was a December evening. The house was cold and empty, and that's exactly how I felt inside. All of a sudden realizing and questioning, gosh, is this thing really happening? Whether your divorce was an intentional decision or an unwilling choice, the common thread is that we all experienced a loss, and the loss of a marriage is a painful one. A recent Psychology Today article noted that 95% of divorce is emotional. The other 5% is legal. So it's important to try and stabilize our emotions at this time. We may be feeling sadness, anger, hurt, fear, anxiety, loneliness, shame, depression, or a combination of all of them and more. I want to assure you that all of those feelings are normal. They are also necessary in the healing process. In her book, Burnout, Emily Nagoski wrote that emotions are tunnels. You have to go all the way through the darkness to get to the light at the end. So it is with divorce. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. Pain is as real as it gets. When we're in pain, we know it. Feel what you feel and go through the tunnel the best you can. There is light at the end. Give yourself time to process those feelings. Also, be careful when using alcohol or other substances that could numb our feelings. Remember that we can't heal what we can't feel. We may also see ourselves unable to concentrate and do the things that we normally do in our life, like eating, personal hygiene, sleeping, socializing, doing hobbies that we like. That's also normal. All these reflect the adjustments that our bodies are making in an attempt to stabilize our emotions. If you're recently separated or currently going through a divorce, I want to share some information and suggestions that I hope can be helpful and encouraging as you move towards healing. First of all, avoid making any major decisions or commitments in your life at this time, especially in the area of finances. Be cautious about purchasing big ticket items and incurring debt, whether it be a new car, a new home, a getaway vacation. Be aware of impulse purchases that may seem needed at the time, but unnecessary in the long run. Of course, depending on your situation, you might have to act immediately and get alternative housing, get some furniture, arrange for additional childcare. You may be relying on one income or limited funds until a financial settlement is reached with your spouse. Be aware that things we buy may be filling a void for the emotional loss that we're experiencing in divorce, all to make us feel better. So, before making any major financial commitments, seek counsel from people that are knowledgeable and those that you trust so that you can make the best decisions for yourself moving forward. The cost of a divorce can be expensive, especially if both of you have separate attorneys, which often is the case. Secondly, self-care. Make yourself a priority. It's important to tend to yourself at this time. Maintain your personal hygiene, get adequate sleep, keep your exercise routine or establish one. Don't skip meals, but at the same time, don't overindulge in food or drink. Also, something to keep in mind. It is difficult for people to know how to respond to someone who's going through a divorce. My spouse and I attended a very large evangelical church, and we were part of a couples group and also a Sunday school class. When I was going through my divorce, only one person from the two groups ever reached out. No fault of anyone's. Most people don't know what to do or say to someone who's going through a divorce. When someone dies, obituaries are written, funerals take place, there's an agape meal that follows. Sympathy cards are sent. There are no sympathy cards for divorce. There's no protocol for people to follow. That said, it's important that we ourselves reach out to close friends and family that we trust. We may feel vulnerable in doing this, but it is important for our healing to be connected with others, not isolated. Let your parish priest know what you're going through. You may also consider getting help from a mental health professional or a support group. Connect with friends. It's important to communicate to others what your needs are and the best way they can support you at this time. We can't assume that they know what we need. They can't read our minds, so let them know. I also want to emphasize that it's okay to ask for help. I want to say that again. It's okay to ask for help. You don't have to go through this alone. The third suggestion has to do with new relationships. A very common question that comes up is, should I date? A new relationship may sound good. We're social beings. We're wired for connection with others. Plus, I just lost a significant relationship in my life. If you're separated, going through a divorce, or newly divorced, my heartfelt suggestion would be to be very cautious and avoid starting a new relationship at this time. You're going through an emotional upheaval right now. A new relationship may appear helpful, but it may take away the focus from yourself and your healing process, where it needs to be at this time. A new relationship, although exciting, adds an additional layer of emotions, in addition to the difficult ones we already have surrounding divorce. A new relationship can put us in a vulnerable position. We're coming from a place of hurt and need, not from a place of strength and assuredness, where we could fully love and give of ourselves to another person. We're not at our best when we're grieving the loss of a marriage. If the new relationship doesn't work out, there'll be another layer of loss to contend with, in addition to the primary loss of the marriage. Protect your heart. It's trying to heal. Also, if there's an outside possibility that you and your spouse might reconcile your marriage and get back together, it's very difficult for that to happen if there's a third party involved. So the next question becomes, how will I know when it's right to date again? That's difficult. There's no set formula to determine when we're ready. We all have varying rates of healing as well as thresholds of pain. However, the most important thing to know is that you must take time to heal. Don't rush it. Get to know yourself so that you have clarity about who you are, your wants and desires, your preferences and priorities, and the bigger picture in your life. Think long term. Be in contact with people you trust. You don't have to do this alone. The last point I want to share is, what does the church have to offer at this time? Elder Simeon Kragiopoulos explains that with great pain comes great grace from God. Deep pain means deep love from God. Pain gives us a dose of reality. Elder Simeon invites us to step into this reality, a reality that encompasses hope, purpose, and the love which Christ has for us, regardless of our situation. How do we do this? Stay close to the church. Link the loss that you're feeling to your faith. The daily prayers, the feast day services, the divine liturgy, daily scripture readings, fasting periods, the sacraments, all these practices within the liturgical calendar represent a rhythm, a particular structure to engage in, which we most need at this time to help stabilize the upheaval we're experiencing from divorce. When we participate in the life of the church, we're entering into something that's bigger than ourselves and bigger than the situation that we're going through. We don't have to face divorce alone. The church is a refuge where our hurts can be tended to by Christ, who is the great healer. Being in contact with your parish priest and your church community can be a tremendous support. Have courage. Reach out. Elder Simeon further writes, a lot of pain, but a lot of grace from God. a lot of pain, but a lot of love from God. A lot of pain, but through this pain, God leads you exactly deep down where your heart so wishes to be. This may be one of those times in our life, maybe the only time, when we are abruptly confronted with a reality that just grabs our attention to where it calls us to stop, examine our life, where we're going, our purpose, our life's meaning. Don't waste the pain. Use it. Take advantage of it. Allow it to lead you on the path towards healing. Although it's been years, I still have the memory of returning to that empty house and the divorce which followed. I always will, because it's part of my story, something that happened in my life. You also have a story, and your story can be your strength in healing beyond divorce. I pray that your journey through divorce becomes a journey of self-discovery, and that you would be blessed as you heal. And with God's grace, rebuild your life as you move from hurt to hope.